There's always going to be some type of runoff coming off of a livestock operation, but with 180 feet between all of our activity and the creek, and then a growing native plant community in that buffer, we're able to ensure that all that water is infiltrating and being taken up by plants and attaching itself to soil before reaching the creek.
Salmon are a charismatic and iconic species in the Pacific Northwest, and they are culturally significant as well as economically significant. Whether it's the salmon that helps feed the big trees up in the mountains, to the fertile agricultural lands of the lowlands, to our orca whales out in the Salish Sea. The more that we can normalize efforts to protect and restore salmon habitat, the more we are connecting back to the cultural identity that is the Pacific Northwest.
You know, along the creek area, we wanted to have a larger buffer first, so that we, could work with having animals here and still being able to graze and not, do damage to the fish habitat in the creek. I think it's good to have your boundaries, especially if you've got cattle, grazing.
Over the last 200 years, we've seen a lot of changes in Whatcom County, including the systematic removal of trees and shrubs around our riparian zones. The riparian zone of a stream system is the transitional area between the aquatic and the upland. And when we remove the functional riparian zone, what comes next is a tremendous amount of non-native species, increased erosion, increased channelization, and lack of diversity. What salmon need is cold, clean, clear water, and complex habitat. These native trees and shrubs that surround a stream provide all of those protective and enhancing characteristics.
I think planting this forest is completely tied in with our concept of how humans make food. That it's really important to recognize that if we don't support and keep that natural system intact around our high-intensity food growing activities, then we won't be able to keep growing the food.
Establishing riparian buffers is not easy, and it also takes a lot of time. Often, when a stream system is degraded, it is overgrown with non-native species, so those species must be outcompeted. And then after about 3 to 5 years, those native trees and shrubs establish a stream system that is more beneficial for our salmon. It also is a real big benefit for the landowners that establish them. They're able to increase pollinator habitat on their property. They're extremely aesthetic. And oftentimes, the landowners are being paid to put their land into conservation.
We understood that as first-time farm buyers, that a conventional bank was not going to lend to us, and that we were going to need to use some really outside-the-box funding mechanisms to access farmland. So we were actually trying to maximize the buffer, because without it, we wouldn't even be here today on this property.
So at Whatcom Conservation District, we feel really proud to partner with local landowners in establishing riparian buffers.
When Conservation District asked about putting in the bridge for fish habitat, I said, yeah, it sounds good to me. I want to work with the Conservation District, and then later, when we signed up for the CREP program, we signed a contract, and they came in and worked with the contractor. But he did an excellent job. I was impressed.
Whatcom Conservation District offers a variety of programs to help steward your land. If you're interested in learning more about habitat restoration programs or any of the programs that we offer, visit whatcomcd.org today and book a site visit for someone to come out to your property and talk to you directly about what you can do to help protect salmon.